Oh, there you are, YouTube. Do subscribe if you're interested, but also no pressure. Hey, I just finished watching episode 5 of House of the Dragon. I almost forgot the title of the show. Episode 5 of House of the Dragon, called Regent, because Aegon, if you remember from the previous episode, was nearly killed. We weren't fully sure if he had died or not in this battle that he was in, and we find out that he isn't, but he is, man, so close to it. He's almost, actually he's in a coma right now, and he's severely, heavily burned, so much that the armor was like burned into his flesh. And when they're taking it out, I mean, he can't feel it, but it looked pretty gruesome. But yes, it's called Regent because he is no longer able to perform his duties as king, so therefore somebody must be appointed to take his place, a regent, if you will. And Alicent, she's like, well, I guess I better step in for my son. And everybody's like, are we sure we want Alicent in this position? I mean, she only knows peacetime. Sure, she has some experience under her belt, but peacetime experience. I think we need to give it to Aemond. And everybody's like, here, here. Everybody agrees. She's kind of upset about it. And gosh, what's his name? Can't think of his name right now. Criston Cole. You know, she's sleeping with him, and she's like, well, what do you think? And then he's like, I think it should be Aemond too, because you know he's doing some under the table plotting with him, you know. So yeah, we have all of that going on. So yeah, Aemond is now going to basically be, what would that be called? King Regent or something? Regent, you know, just you know, holding the fort down while his brother is not able to do so. So this episode had that happening at the beginning. And then we were seeing a lot of movement and deals getting made, and like, okay, who are you gonna, you know, with other lands. I don't know, what are they called, like the other little tiny castles and stuff, the other locations, the lands, realms. What do you call those? You know, like, hey, who are you gonna support? You gonna support us or them? And you know, deals being made. Okay, you know, if you support Rhaenyra, when we win, we'll give you this castle. How does that sound? You want that? That'd be good. So you have all that going down, and there was a lot of that sort of movement in this one, I felt, and some of it's more successful than others. Daemon, however, I'm having a little trouble with his little subplot here, because it involves a lot of like daydream sequences, and I just don't always like those in movies and television. I mean, sometimes they're okay, but a lot of times it's not real, so sometimes it just feels like a waste of time to me. And it doesn't always, but when I realized I didn't like them was watching The Walking Dead. I would get pissed off every time there was one, and then I was like, actually, I don't think I like dream sequences in movies and such. So it really kicked off when watching Walking Dead, and Rick was really struggling, having all those dreams about his wife and stuff. I was just like, I don't like any of this. And that's kind of how I feel about what's going on now with Daemon, because he got this witch over here that's like, think about this. Think about this. I'm putting you under my spell, and I'm going to be making you think about this. Or I'm going to be giving you visions of this. I'm going to be predicting this and letting you see it, and blah, 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 blah. And, he's got a dream with his mom that's like, ooh. And then he's dreaming about, his dead wife, former wife, and all sorts of stuff going on there. And he's like failing with stuff. He's just like not, people are turning on him, and it's just like, this isn't what we need. And he's like, call me king. And like, well, you're king consort. And, you know, what's his location? Wherever his location is. I keep wanting to call it Hufflepuff. It's not Harrenhal or something. I can't remember what it's called. But, you know, he's like, go ahead and call me king. And they're like, but you're not king. You are the queen's husband. You are king consort. So I will go ahead and call you your grace. And he's like, no, I will be king. You know, he's like Scar, you know, he just thinks he deserves it. So he's trying to do that, and, you know, all sorts of stuff going on. But here, that's the thing that I'm not into, is the stuff going on with Daemon right now. I don't want to see that. Oh, here's an interesting thing, though. What's his name? Is it Jaecaerys? Is that right? Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but is Jaecaerys Rhaenyra's son, who, you know, the brown-haired son who's alive and around her? Yeah, because there's like another kid, I guess, that hasn't been on the show yet that she has that's somewhere else. But anyway, I think it's Jaecaerys. And he's you know, she's all like, oh, we don't have enough dragon riders, and he's like, but we have enough dragons. And then she's like, yeah, but we need riders for them, and we don't have enough riders for them. And then he's like, well, you know, just because there may be not enough people with our last name, there could be people who have our blood but married out of the family into other families that have other last names. And she's like, what, you want you want the Tarleys to be riding our dragons? Tarleys, if I remember right, everybody remember, was it Sam Tarly? Is that right? You know, from original Game of Thrones, right? His family, some dragon riders. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to look through the scrolls, look through the genealogy. You know, they're gonna check that out. They're gonna learn a little bit about the bloodline and find out what they can find out about the family tree, so that they can get some other people on those dragons to strengthen their army, because they're like, that big dragon Vhagar is just like unbeatable with what we have. Our dragons are faster, but he's just too strong, right? So we need to get all of our dragons out there, not just, you know, two. We need a fleet. So that's what they're aiming for right now, which I think is cool. All they got to do is get on Ancestry.com and find out who their relatives are. And once they have that locked down, they can teach them how to ride dragons, and then they will have a stronger army. So very cool. I'm excited. That's what I'm excited to see, is who these extended family members are that they can bring in to the fleet to be dragon riders. I'm hyped for that. I want to see all of that. So that's kind of what I'm excited about, actually. But yeah, there was a lot of like placing of the chess pieces here, and alliances, like that game of Risk. You know, I remember the first time I ever played Risk, I won against very experienced people. And I said, you know what, I'm never going to play this again. I'm going to go out on top. But anyway, I want to know what you thought of the episode. What do you think of those dream sequences? Do you like them overall in all media, or do you dislike them like I do? Do you like the ones here but maybe not in other shows, or do you like them in other shows and maybe not here? I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are on dream sequences, because they just don't always work for me. I would say they usually don't, but sometimes they do, and when they do, I feel like I don't notice it. It's not like I get skeptical right away, where I'm like, oh, here's a dream sequence, I know I'm going to hate this. I think there are dream sequences that happen where it's like, later I'm like, oh yeah, there was a dream sequence and it didn't bother me. Anyway, yeah, still having a good time with this show, even though it has a lack of humor, which is still greatly missed from the first show, the flagship show. You know, there is no Peter Dinklage giving us the comedy in this one, which I, again, greatly miss, but still really liking it. Really liking it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and perhaps we'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.